Welcome to this topical video on the subject of Apocalypse. Games Workshop have announced that they are releasing some new rules for Apocalypse-sized games. That's much larger games of 40k, with a lot more figures, bigger models, more players and so on. Talking about how they're going to streamline the rules to make it easier to play on a larger scale. So that's the topic here for this video. Before we get stuck in, just the backdrop here for this one, using the game mat Sands of Time and then the industrial terrain set from gamemat.eu. Do check them out for your own battle mats and pre-painted terrain sets. There's a link for them below. There's also a discount code for 11% off across the store. And then to get a hold of your own 40k models, we recommend Gaming Figures, link for them below, for all of your models and hobby supplies. And then for painting commissions, it's Art W Studios, link for them below. So Games Workshop have announced with their new publication or set of books that's coming out, The Eye of Terror, The Reign of Iron Begins, and talking about how they're moving the lore along. It's going to feature the Iron Hands. There's going to be 3 books, and the middle book is going to give you the Apocalypse rules. I'm finding that interesting because isn't there rumoured to be a new edition of 40k on the way, literally in a few months' time, so I'm not sure if it makes sense to bring out Apocalypse rules at this point. And as per usual, this video series, we'd love to hear back from you in the comments section below if you have any comments, because I'm going to raise some points here that are certainly open for discussion. So first up, I want to talk about a number of reasons why I think Apocalypse has taken a good number of hits to the point where it's been very difficult to play. Not impossible, and people are still playing large scale games, but it's been more tricky for us to play it on the channel, and others, I've just listening to others, they're saying that it's doesn't happen as much as it used to. I think there's a good number of reasons behind that. With Apocalypse, you're playing a game of Warhammer 40,000 is complex enough to play and time consuming enough to play, but then if you up the scale, then obviously you're taking on more models, more dice rolling, more stats, more units, and it just builds up on the time. So it is quite a big undertaking to play. Usually you want to play it. The times I've played with James, and it's just been myself and James who've done like 10,000 points each, that is a real sort of headache of a game to play. So it's best when you have a number of friends combined together, 2, 3, 4 players aside, and you can each run like 2,000, 3,000 points each. Those are much more enjoyable and manageable games as well. And what Games Workshops are proposing here with this new publication, it's going to streamline regular 40k to make it easier with a better flow, to make it more manageable for Apocalypse. I want to talk about a number of reasons why Apocalypse has taken a hit, and also an offer solution, which I think is an obvious solution at the end of how it can be fixed. So, first up, what's hurt Apocalypse games is just the fading away and disappearance of Forge World. When we played Apocalypse games and wanting to play 40k on a larger scale, it was always, what model could I get from Forge World? What larger tank, Titan, characters, unique units could I get, paint up, spend that extra money on, and then have it ready for an Apocalypse game? It's always one of the driving factors behind it. To run a Scout Titan or a Revenant Titan and to have that big model on the board. It's always a focal point, like in our battle reports. But Forge World sort of faded away quietly. It's obviously increasingly harder to get a hold of the models, and there's issues with the rules. Are the rules available for certain units and so on? So that has been a blow, I think, for Apocalypse for sure. So that's been the first issue, and I'd love to hear back from you. Do you still play Apocalypse? Do you still play larger games of 40k, or is it also in your community faded away, or is it just as strong? I'd love to hear back from the comment section below. The other issue is the cost of the hobby. It costs a lot now. It is an expensive hobby. So if you're savvy, if you're clever, you can manage it quite well. But to go to Apocalypse level, where you're painting up like loads more units and so on, it is very expensive to do, for sure. And so that's made it, I think, less accessible for people, especially if you're going to drive to push an army up to Apocalypse level by yourself. That's quite an undertaking, and maybe people think to themselves, well, should I push an army up to 10,000 points, or should I collect 5 armies at 2,000 points? and so it's pretty obvious, I think, what people usually want to do. So cost-wise, it is hard to push to get an army to apocalypse size. And bear in mind, at the end of this video, I do have a solution to this, which I think would work exceptionally well. Next up is the failed rule sets. Games Workshop have brought out a number of attempts to make Apocalypse work, which we've tried in our Apocalypse games, and they've released it and promoted it, and then it just hasn't worked, and it's faded away and not been pushed, and the uptake's not been very good amongst the communities. I think that's hurt Apocalypse as well. A lack of streamlined rules, which maybe one fix could have been as Apocalypse-sized games buried into the official rulebook, so you're not waiting around for a publication to come out. When the new edition comes out, or a edition comes out, say 11th edition, inside it is how to play bigger games of 40k. The rules are in it, the rules are official, they're already there, and it's immediately an option instead of waiting for another attempt at Apocalypse. It's already incorporated into perhaps a simpler, more streamlined way to play 40k. So that's one possible fix. But anyway, rule sets have failed, and that's been tricky. It's trying to get an appropriate rule set to play, or just playing large scale 40k, which, as I mentioned at the start, can be a real headache. Then the other issue can be the logistical effort required. Bigger board, more players, more armies, a lot more time. When we played Apocalypse, like to film a game, it was an all-day affair, and perhaps pushing like 10 in the morning till evening, if not mid-late evening, to play a game. And often we were finding we were playing like 2-3 turns at best. And so it was a struggle to get like a result or a real flow for a game, because you're literally having to stop halfway through because you literally run out of time. So it's harder logistically to do as well, especially if you've got friends you're travelling together, or you're travelling to a certain place to play a game, or you've got just a certain time slot to play a game of Apocalypse. Then it can be an issue as well. So those are the points that I've raised why I think Apocalypse is a struggle. If you've got any more reasons, let us know in the comments section below. So now for the fix. And it baffles me, and it baffles others why Games Workshop don't do this. And that is to simply release Epic Warhammer 40,000. They've done it for Horus Heresy, and that's kind of been milked for all it's worth. Because there's only so many more releases you can do with that. And it's not as broad. It's sort of Space Marine Civil War. There's much more of an appeal and a broader base for the Warhammer 40,000 concept, because you've got, instead of 30k, because you've got all the Xenos factions, you've got Imperium, you've got Space Marines, you've then got a better spread for Chaos as well, wider range of units, so much more variety. You've already got a dedicated following for all of those factions. So Eldar, because I've talked to players, they've said, I collect an Eldar army, I'd love to collect Epic Scout Eldar army and tap into some of the other units that you wouldn't usually be able to access. And that leads on to a major thing where for Apocalypse, where it's beyond a lot of players' reach to do, like trying to get a Revenant Titan and so on. But if you go down to the smaller scale, all of a sudden you get all the Titans that you want, because it's much more accessible, affordable. Scale is smaller, but still you can appreciate the size of the game, because the infantry are so small, and then the Titans are that much bigger. Because the Legions game for 30k looks fantastic, the models are fantastic, the terrain looks excellent. I've heard the rules are very good, and so isn't it just a no-brainer? It should go to 40k. And then Games Workshop at a steady pace. I've got just constant downscaled re-releases of units, and then a chance to really produce some fantastic sculpts for the larger scale units as well. So you can then imagine your Eldar Revenant Titan, Phantom I think it is, the larger ones, the larger scale beasts for the Tyrians, the Orcs, all of their super-sized units as well. So it's bound to work. Sure, I know the fan base is there. It's bound to work, and I think that would be the best solution, so that people can play with Apocalypse-sized units, still appreciate the scale of it, and then have it so much more accessible. I think that's the solution. So that would be my appeal to let people play large games of 40k if they want. 5,000 points, 10,000 points. Just play 40k, regular rules, and people do it already. They just house rule and make things simpler. And then to really cater for people that want to play with those larger scale units, then introduce Epic 40k, and that would be the best solution. Maybe we'll see it once the new edition of 40k comes along. Then we'll see Games Workshop branch out into Epic 40k. We shall have to see. But that's my offering here on this very topical subject. The issues why Apocalypse has struggled, and then I think the best solution for it would be Epic Warhammer 40,000. So as always, let us know what you think in the comment section below. It's a very interesting subject, this one. Love to hear back from you in the comment section. Do check out GameMat.eu for supplies of battle mats and pre-painted terrain, gaming figures for your models, and hobby accessories, and then for painting commissions, it's Art W Studios. If you like this series, like this video, do leave a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe. And then for bonus content, including our league, which is building up and I think is going to be starting right about now, that's on channel membership. So join us on channel membership for bonus content, including our season 14 league. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.